Hello and welcome to another adventure with Myths and Mystics. We're an actual play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast. To my right, Gerald Waldrop as Zarin, the Changeling Avenger.
Hail and well met.
Natasha Waldrop as Vanya, the Half-Drow Assassin.
Hey.
And Matt Murphy as Stone, the Human Mystic.
Hello.
Hello. You don't have any notes to tap today.
I noticed too.
I noticed.
We're in combat.
Your lack of
serious
notes.
business.
He doesn't use notes for combat.
He just has his manual
He
out.
wings it.
Yes.
If you haven't noticed by now, I wing it.
Did not pick up on that at all. And I am Steve Messenger, your dungeon master. Mastering the dungeon, as it were. Thanks again for joining us for another episode last week. Last week was pretty combat heavy,
Yeah.
but y'all did it. You did it.
We
and
did.
Oh boy, did you do it. Because where things left off, Halrek was trying to do something terrible to
It
Tyr.
was.
It's terrible.
And in a moment of desperation to try to cease whatever action he was doing, Stone was able to twist Tyr upright to expose Halrak.
Yes.
And Zarin took a wild swing. Not really a wild swing. It was a very directed swing, which seems as though it has disrupted Halrek's spirit, but it has also embedded the Redekin, the powerful sword that has the ability to banish demons and gods, as it turns out. And it is stuck in the chest piece of Tyr's armor.
Bad
And
news bears.
yes. So as this is going on, the one angelic figure looks up. He's like, "What happened? What'd you do?" Nothing.
This looks awkward.
Clever. I killed Halrak. Now be useful and help me. I'll try to pry the sword out.
So the two of you are over there, and as you're pulling on the sword, trying to rip this thing out of his armor, you notice that the ore starts to malform again, and it dislodges. It actually like almost shoots out of the sword across the ground, and it comes to a screeching halt, and there's smoke coming off of it. And Tyr collapses, and he is breathing extremely heavy, labored breath.
Oh no.
And he's not responding to anyone that's talking to him.
I will channel my divine energy, lay on hands into him. Let's see if that does anything.
So as Zarin, you make your way over there and you place your hand down. It's
Assuming the sword is out after the stone popped out.
sword is still in there.
Well,
You got one hand stabbing him and the other healing him.
You as you're trying to channel this energy, do you have any spell points left?
that's not so. Yeah, no, I have no spell
Where's that?
points. I have only the lay on hands.
Lay on
left.
hands.
But I mean, if the sword's still stuck, I'm not stopping prying it.
Yeah. So
Help, Stone.
as you and this angelic figure, you guys are kind of pushing him up so you can pry at that sword, and you're using your hand to lay on hands, and you can feel like, knowing that your energy is driven from sort of his divine nature, like it doesn't feel like it's doing what it's supposed to. But roll me a strength check to see if you can rip this thing out.
All right.
And if you roll a 1, you actually push it as further.
Oh no. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No
This is
pressure.
No pressure.
No
There's a special
pressure.
DM die here.
Oh yeah, the one
metal.
that's notoriously failed you.
Right?
Yep.
I feel like it's gonna fit the narrative that the DM wants, though. Here.
Yes. Wow.
Hey, 17
17.
plus a 4 plus 4 strength, 21.
All right. So, using that one hand, you're able to pry this sword out, and as you do, this it's weird because the light was shot down into Tyr is now dripping down. It almost looks like a light is dripping out of him, and he's clutching his chest, and he rolls over on his back, and he's just heavy, labored breathing, just having a hard time regaining his composure. Stone, you notice that there's one of those obsidian boys is making his way over, and I figure like you're gonna do something cool psionically to just blast him away.
Is that what you figure?
So that's
I
what's
was watching this thing with Tyr
Uh-huh.
go down.
yeah.
No, if I notice that, then I will.
Just do something. Vanya, you
Blast
see
him.
one coming too, and you draw your crossbow.
Okay.
You-
I'm gonna energy beam one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
So-
crossbow one, but there's something else.
Okay.
That stone thing that came out of the sword,
Yeah.
where is that?
It's laying on the ground about 15 feet away from you.
Is anybody near it?
Nope.
I'm going to make my way over to that to make sure it doesn't get taken by something we don't want to have it.
Why don't you slide a hand for me?
Okay.
See if anyone notices you. Scoop this thing up.
This is not rolling in my favor today.
Uh-oh.
I notice.
I mean, do you care if they notice?
The only people, I'm not trying to take it. I just don't want the obsidian thing to take it. And I don't know where Mara is. So I just would rather us have it. That's all. Sleight of hand. It's an 11. Yay. 15.
So Vanya makes her way over and she picks this thing up. Doesn't seem like anyone noticed her scoop it up.
She like walks by and kicks it into her hand behind her back.
Acts like she's tying her shoe. Bends down, picks it up. And so in the background, Stone, you blast one of these things as it's making its way over and with a fiery beam, and one of the angels cleaves it in half. And back over to Tyr. Doesn't seem like it seems like Halrek's done.
Yeah.
It seems like he is
Did you
gone.
get that thing?
But
I will kneel over him, clutching the sword into his hand, and say, "My God, justice was done this day. Please forgive me."
Sinner.
he says, Zarin, you always were faithful. You were one of my finest. And he places his hand on this wound, and it's just this bright white light liquid. If you can digest everything I just said there, is still pouring out of his chest. And he says, "But I am not long for this world. I feel as though the Redican has torn too far in. I don't know that I can recover from this one." And he's starting to cough up some god blood, whatever that looks like. I picture it's
I'll
kind
try
of
to like keep my hand over the wound in the light, hold in the light.
He says, I will have to take my leave. If I can get back to my plane, I might be able to recover. But he said, what's happened here with Halrek? You've done good work." And he lifts a hand and he puts it up on your shoulder, and it covers the entirety of your shoulder. And he says, "Thank you for that. I feel as though you've redeemed yourself."
Thank you, my lord. Recover. I will remain your hand of justice in this place.
Yes, there's still hope for you. And he kind of rolls to his side and he starts to push himself up, and the two angels come over and they start to lift him up. And as they're trying to tend to that wound, he says, "Eidolon, we must make our way." And he's motioning to this angel that you had been having some issues with here. And you gathered that his name is Eidolon. And you look over at Eidolon. You notice that he is very timid's not quite the right word, but there's something awkward happening here where he's walking over towards Tyr, but he's eyeballing you the whole way over. And you have any words for Eidolon?
My God, if I could make one request before you go.
What is that, Zarin?
This servant was in my mind and my dream. Was he sent? Was he there? Responsible for the death of my wife?
There is a heavy silence, even with the burning that's going on in the background. And Tyr, he kind of sinks down a bit, and he says, Zarin, you have been most faithful. But there was a point where you have done something that I could not allow to go unnoticed, unchecked. And my fear is, though, that point from which you broke, it is no longer justice that you serve. It's been my fear. No, I feel as though you've turned more towards vengeance. Now, what you've done today, I feel, has redeemed yourself, but Zarin, long ago, when I came to Enervis, Halrek, he betrayed me. He betrayed all of us. He deceived us. He took my sword. He destroyed the Redekin, the ore that was within it, the heart of it, where it draws its power. For some time after that, I wondered about my role is to dispense justice, not merely amongst man, but amongst the gods and the demons. Without the Redekin, I hold no power. Like you, I thought I found love with one that was mortal. Long even before then. And during that time, I realized what great mistake I had made. Halrek is my son. He was forged in a unholy matrimony with a mere mortal. And when you step from grace to be with a mortal, I fear the worst, that someone as evil and powerful as Halrek, a great deceiver, could be born again. At first, I did nothing of the sort to deal with it, but I knew something had to be done to cleanse what you have done. And in that moment, Zarin, as you're hearing this and your pulse is starting to beat, and all of these things, all these truths are being poured onto you, we are getting glimpses of back into that dream. And it seems as though whatever Mara did to get into your head has broken sort of that redundant record skip where it just keeps repeating the same section over and over. And you're back in that room, and you're looking around, and you see that these different figures that are in there, they're wearing this black leather scaly sort of skin over their armor. Looks very akin to those that are standing around you, these angels, just with some sort of covering over it to disguise what they truly are. And as Tyr looks at you, he says, I could not take that chance again. I could not take a chance of one of my own warriors, bringing another great evil into this world. It was not Adolin's call to strike down your wife. It was mine. And as you're in that dream, and you're flashing in and out, you see that it is indeed Adolin that's standing there. And in this dream, you see yourself now. You're almost kind of third person as you're watching. And you see that these figures that were behind you restraining you, assumedly these angels that are standing next to you now, at least some of them, they are beating you as your wife collapses onto the ground. And they're stabbing you. And they throw you onto the ground. And Adolin walks over and he takes something and he lights it on a candle that's in the room. It's this torch that he then starts to wipe across the thatch roof ceiling of the roof. And he throws it on the floor next to you and your wife. And we flash back, and Tyr, he said, It was not what I wanted to do, but what I felt was only just to prevent this from happening again. And we're back in that room. and the fires are starting to light, and the embers are pouring up. And you look over and you see your wife on the ground, and she's still breathing, she's still gasping for air, clutching the wound, trying to hold on. And as the fire fills the room, you feel yourself, you're crawling over to protect her from the flames. You put your body over her. And we flash back to Tyr, and he says, You're always so faithful, even in this great misstep that you took. I had to do what I felt was right. And we're back in that room, and the fire is filled. Smoke is choking your lungs. You can't breathe. You can't see it stinging your eyes. And as you cover her, she takes your hand. In one of her final breaths, she moves your hand over her stomach. And you feel a slight kicking inside. And we cut back to Tyr, and he said, I had to do what was right, for I knew what great evil could come into this world. That is what justice looks like. What you have done over the years since that happened, I feel as though I made the right choice. For yes, you have erred on the side of justice, but many times your wrath made it look more like vengeance, more like what Halrek would have done. I feel as though tonight you have redeemed yourself. But Zarin, I must take my leave.
Where's Redican? Is he holding Redican? Or no?
You pried it out of his chest,
Right.
so you were still holding it.
But the thing flew out of it.
Varnia's got it.
Fine, just got that.
You said you have no power without Redican.
To dispense justice amongst the gods and the demons.
You betrayed justice. You slew an innocent. You slew my wife and the innocent child within her. You betrayed me. This is not justice. I curse you.
He stands up, still holding this light that's dripping out of his chest. And he says, you gave up justice when you gave up your immortality.
You know nothing of justice. And he's going to swing Redican at Tyr. Be gone! You are not my god!
So the sword comes crashing down on Halrek. I'm sorry, on Tyr.
Dun, dun, dun.
What a twist! Oh, let the cat out! No, it's Tyr. So the sword comes crashing down, and Tyr, in his weakened state, it cleaves right down on that spot that was already open. And as the angels around are reaching to stop you, the blade digs down into his chest, and he comes crumpling down onto the ground. And other friends, any actions taken here?
Yeah, hang on.
I don't know. I think I don't know what Vanya would do. I don't want to be involved. I can't fight another king of this
seems
power.
like a personal matter.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. I can't handle another battle of this caliber.
Stone puts up his hands, and a 10-foot high wall, 40-foot long, 10-foot high,
The barrier?
1-inch thick, transparent wall of energy.
The barrier?
Yeah, I put it.
The thing that Gerald's always asking you to put up?
Yeah. I put that in front of the angels
Yeah. So as
to block their path.
So as Eidolon is bringing down, he's got his longsword he's bringing down. It just clashes off of this shield. And the other two are coming around the sides, and they're hacking at this shield. And Zarin has this sword and is dug into Tyr's chest. And as you lean in towards his got this big visor on his helmet, and you're staring him as close to eye as you can. He says, "Zarin, you were meant for so much more.
Vengeance is mine.
You have failed."
Oh, jeez.
And
Change
Oh
your
my gosh. Chills.
change your alignment on your sheet at this point.
Yeah.
and you feel the sword slip easily down in.
Oh no.
And the even though the ore that's across the way, probably a good 20 feet away from you, Vanya, you can feel that this thing that you just pocketed, it is roaring to life. And as you pull it away, it's becoming burning hot, and you pull it out of your pocket and kind of up into the air. You see this beam of light shoot from the ore to the sword, and just this massive explosion of sparks and light. And everyone's on the ground.
A duck.
Psyduck. And
Sneak attack.
the only one left standing in that immediate area, I should say, Stone and Vanya, you're both far enough away that
Yeah.
you're
We're on the angel side of this wall.
Yeah. You do the anime thing where you dig your feet in, but you still slide back. Yeah.
Yeah, you turn your face away.
Dab a little bit, and
I dab. Bonus action to dab.
there are massive chunks, remnants of Tyr's armor scattered across the ground. And the three angels, they are laying on the ground, and they're collecting themselves, and they look at each other, and they GTFO.
I just say if they didn't, I'm going to point right at you and that
time to
Eidolon.
go.
Yes. And it is just the three of you left standing there.
So the sword, is it glowing? You said the light shot from this thing to the sword, so it's as if it were in there,
Yeah.
or its power is, right?
All right. Stone's gonna run up to Zarin and put a hand on his shoulder and just say, "Friend, we had no idea."
Did we hear all of this?
Yeah.
You heard all the stuff that Tyr was saying. You did not get the glimpse into what happened.
The dream.
And as you run up and you put your hand on his shoulder,
Crap. So I gotta figure out how much of this we know.
Right.
as
He said quite a bit back to him.
Yeah, it did reveal that it was him that sent.
And you
the
were like,
order.
"You killed my wife and child." And he was
Yeah.
like, "I did."
Yeah.
So
And it seemed loud.
Yeah. So as you run up and you put your hand on Zaren's shoulder, and you feel he's not shaking at all. He's just heavy breathing of having just been through this battle and whatnot. And Zaren, we are again in your dream space, and it is pale gray. And you are now in that perspective of you are in your body again in this dream. And you're afraid to open your eyes. And as you do, you can see she's still fairly intact, but heavily charred by the fire. You were able to pull her close to protect her as much as you could. But she is dead. And as you lift your head up and you look around, you see that everything that you had with her, the house, the fields even, everything is burnt to an ash. And the fog is thick, the sky is gray. Some time it must have passed that it's morning now. And this part you don't really remember at all of what you did from there. You were able to take her to bury her. And from there, that's when you began your journey to wander out in the wilderness. And some time had passed, and in this dream, this is all kind of happening very quickly, these different flashes of moving forward. But for you, you were able to soak in every moment. And there's a moment where you bow down to a stream to wipe off your face, drink some water. And as you look down, the face you see is not the face of vengeance that you have had for years since this happened. When you look down into the water, your face is fey-like. You still have the horns and whatnot, A lot of the same features, but you've been heavily burnt, disfigured even. And as this happens, again, you're sort of third-personing a bit, and you see yourself weeping and sobbing heavily, just mourning the loss of your wife. And as you look down and you see yourself just in this moment, in this despair, there's a moment where you look again up at the water, and with determination, your face turns to this stark white look of death, and the horns that you have turn more into this rigid form of this malice and hatred for whoever it was that did this to you and your wife. And this has all been blocked out. The traumatic situation of being there in the fire and everything going on. You had one mission after that, and that was to seek vengeance on the one that did wrong to you. And Stone, as you're there and you have your hand on his shoulder, and he looks up at you, you see a face very different than the face that you've known Zarin for.
Ugh. I thought this was Zarin. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, sir.
You see
No, I'm kidding.
a very familiar face, but his face shows the true scars, this true scarring from years and years ago, from that fire that took everything that Zarin had. And that, friends, is where we're going to cut to a break. Every day I used to come home from school and I would eat lunch because we had open lunches, which is probably the most dangerous thing you could let teenagers do. Like, hey, we're going to let you have an hour of unsupervised time where your parents are probably at work, where you have complete open access to literally everything in their house, including some dangerous implements, mostly alcohol, sometimes marijuana, cigarettes, and the likes thereof. And I would go home, but I didn't do any of that stuff. I had a Hot Pocket, I had a cream soda, and I would watch The Price is Right. Not a sponsor. Bob Barker would always say, spay and neuter your dogs. Now, we don't offer any of those services, but if you go to missandmisses.com, you can check out all of our character backstories, artwork, the likes thereof, and you can see information like we're going to be at Wizard World in Columbus, Ohio. I have not been specifying Ohio, so if you go to Columbus, Georgia in October, it will probably be a lot warmer, but there won't be a convention that we'll be at. You might find some other conventions. What kind of conventions in Georgia would you go to? That's what Google's for. Safe search that one, friends, and we will see you in Columbus. I'm selling artwork. I'm selling prints. We're going to be giving away free stuff. We love you. We'll see you back on the show. Welcome back from the break. Hopefully you had something tasty, maybe something a little more healthy, some
What
apple
about-
slices.
I hope you had something that was
Tissues.
bitter as ash in your mouth.
I hope you listened to a happy song.
Yeah.
I hope you saw red running to fit in with the mood.
My goodness.
Yes. Painted that whole thing with some dark strokes on that one.
Yeah.
But sometimes we like to have fun here at Miss and Mystics.
Not
Who's
tonight,
fun?
though.
Yeah.
Today is not that day.
So the three of you are collecting yourselves from what just happened, and any other thoughts, actions as we're standing here? The city guard seems as though there's a handful of folks that are coming out that haven't evacuated, that are trying to put out some fires and whatnot.
I'm going to approach the gentleman. You know.
Gentleman.
Yeah. To
Okay.
be there, support it quietly. I mean, not like sneak up on them, but join them and support or whatever.
You're very sneaky, so I think even if you're just walking up by default.
Hey, you need help?
All right.
Not like that.
So you don't have a whole lot of time, I guess, to converse here at this point because you hear again a thunder peal in the distance. and you heard this once before, but this time it's louder, and you look around, and things that are on the ground are starting to shift a bit and starting to float again.
Oh no.
When did this happen before?
I'm trying to remember. I remember this happening. Oh,
Yes,
oh,
but
yeah.
do you remember that our wizard
I
dude
remember.
is what held everything
Yes.
down?
I was gonna say when Ochre wasn't able
Yeah.
to control his power, stuff
Things
started
were-
floating.
that's
So,
Yeah.
Ochre.
yep, we
I
should
just
go
say
there.
his name as we see this happening.
So
We should go there.
We should go there. It was only, 2 days ride?
Good thing is you can teleport.
Yeah, right? Remember, 6 miles, I would be out of energy. And then we could long rest. We've been through this. It's going to take several days, regardless.
I'm going to be picking up the pieces of Tyr's armor.
I kind of thought about that. It might be really cool, like Howrex.
Yeah.
you got the party bag of holding.
No.
Want to tie-dye that?
Don't
We have-
touch this.
We have both bags of holdings.
Yes.
We have another.
Okay.
We need horses.
There's a couple undamaged horses nearby.
Don't kill them. We can ride them.
All right, so y'all
should-
mount up.
Yeah. We should
When
go
to
to
go?
Ochre. Yep.
I just realized I've missed golden opportunities to like give sideways glances toward Vanya every time I summon my mount.
Don't.
Don't do it.
Yeah, you could just re-summon him anyway. That'd be fun. He summons them.
Yeah.
We should do that.
You know, this all started as a joke, and now I have real concerns. All right, so the three of you mount up, and in haste, you make your way down towards the astral chamber. As you're approaching, this time,
Dodging the floating rock bits.
Yeah.
yeah,
along
well,
the
it's getting like super bad. Like,
Super bad.
so as you're approaching, like it used to be like the
McLovin.
things were just kind of hovering there. Like there's some stuff that's just kind of erratically going in different directions, and as you get closer to the chamber, all those blue crystals that were shattered on the ground, they're suspended in the air around you, and you're brushing them out of the way. Stop that, not getting out of the way. And as you get there and you look down into the chamber, Ochre is dead. And there is a black crystalline spear through his heart, impaling him into the ground.
Hallrek.
Mara.
With his last breath, he says, "Yep, he's got it."
So he wasn't dead.
Oh.
Now he's dead.
Wait, opportunity.
Land hands.
Okay, hang on. I have restore life.
Oh.
Oh my God. He dies of old age, coincidentally.
Resurrects one creature that has died in the last minute to 1 hit point.
Stone, as you walk down there to perform said psionic ability, you're tapping into your psyche, your mental space, and you hear a voice as you're getting ready to channel this energy, and it says, "Stone, it's your boy Strata."
Tyr? Oh.
Strata.
Sorry, you guys all sound the same.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta work on my voices. He says, Ochre, he is not strong enough to come back from this.
I can save him.
I know you can technically,
Yes.
but,
Unless he's missing vital body parts or dies of old age.
I can
do it.
There is a vital body part called his heart that has a black crystalline spear through it. Doesn't look so good.
He might be okay.
Is that considered piercing damage?
A little bit. A little bit.
I got this,
Some
man. I'm telling you.
necrotic damage as well.
Oh, shoot. Can't do much with that.
He says, "I'm really gonna put you on the spot now.
Why
This whole
do
thing
we
has
both
really,
sound like Surfer Dude.
this has really changed the tone from the first half of this episode."
Yeah.
He says, "Stone, you remember from your training what it is to hold on to what is true. Do you not?
I don't know anymore.
I seem to have forgotten all about True.
Mr. Stone.
No, I'm just this stuff with Zarin. It's like truth to me is
Yeah.
in question right now.
The only way to stay true with your power, with your core, is to keep your mind open. Ochre is dead. The only way to restore balance. I am free from this crystalline husk that Halrek had trapped me in. I can restore the balance, but I need you to focus in the chamber. And as you look up, you see the dark passageway that leads down into the astral chamber. And you recall Ochre.
Yeah.
If I could do a cool flashback, it'd be like, I don't know how anyone could survive down there, down there, down there, down there. Only I have the power, power. Right? It's all flashbacky.
All right. Yeah.
I have the power. Oh, He-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna look at Zarin, and just with telepathy,
Telepathy.
say, trust me. And then I run off down that way.
Oogie.
I'll chop him in half with Redican. I don't trust anyone. I'm kidding.
I'm done with all of you. So,
On the way, I'm gonna focus on my inertial armor.
just in case. Just in case.
Yeah. Pump
what,
up my.
Dude,
What does that do? Are you going to side
No, I
duck
just-
again?
the phrase "trust me" just makes me fly into a murderous rage.
It's actually my AC goes up, and I have resistance to force damage. I'm just pumping myself up a little bit. I don't
Okay.
know what's gonna happen.
And as you are doing that and you're channeling this energy, you can feel from beyond that you can feel the stronger connection with Strata than you ever have, and he's actually helping bolster your telekinetic armor that you're putting around yourself. And as you go down into the chamber, roll a perception check for me, please.
Okay. That is a 7 on the die. Perception is a +5, so
Okay.
13.
So as
12.
you go down into the chamber, there is a haunting blue glow coming from the very center. And as you go down in, it's almost like an old school, what is it, the planetarium kind of deal where you have the big dome.
Planetarium.
The planetarium. As you go down in there, it has a very similar feel because there is this cavernous sort of stalactites hanging down, but through it, it almost feels like you can see the different stars that hang in the balance, and even what looks to be even other worlds and planets that are hanging out there. And everything is kind of stuttering a little bit, kind of shaking about.
I just quickly look around and make sure Olmsted isn't in here.
He said, "Oh, sorry about that." He's like, "Didn't know you were coming down here too."
You're everywhere.
Yes, I'm a bit mysterious. And he steps backwards to
This
the
feels
wall.
like the center of the universe. This like place.
It kind of has that feel.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can see that there were 12 sort of pillars almost, like stools though, that are arranged in the circle. And 11 of them have what looks to be very similar cloaks to what Ochre wore, that are folded up very neatly and placed on these stools with little amulets sitting on top. And in the center, there is just this white, pearlish looking stone that sits perfectly in the middle, and it's rocking just the littlest a bit. And you go down in there, and you hear in your mind from Strata, he says, "Go, sit at the open seat, and I will reach through."
Okay.
So
I do that.
you walk around to the far side, and as you sit down,
If this is Mara and I get killed, I'm sorry, guys.
We trusted you.
No, I
yeah,
mean,
you said, trust me.
flashback to trust me.
Yeah. Trust me.
No, yeah.
All right, so you sit down, and he says, "Stone, You're going to need to focus everything you have. This might kill you. Is he kidding?
Huh.
He said, trust me. We need to do this to restore the balance.
Okay.
I need you to roll an Arcana check.
Oh boy.
The fate of the world is in your die roll. Oh, that was dramatic.
That was pretty dramatic.
So
I'm gonna use my action to aid another and give him advantage.
You got this, bro.
oh, thanks, man. I've been rolling. No, that unfortunately that's a 7 total.
Okay. So as you're down there, you can feel Strata is trying to move through your psionic space to get there.
You're going to have to do better than that.
Could you nudge that die over just a
I
little?
said focus. I would if
Perhaps-
you weren't talking to me.
Perhaps if he rolled a 14 or better, that would actually do it. So as you are down there, you are starting to see flashes of white as though you're going back into that white space. And you can see that there's now sporadic images of this blue orb that is filling the room. And as that happens, you start to black out. And as you do, you call out. You make some kind of noise, some sort of guttural noise. Zarin and Vanya,
You see him passing out.
you
No,
cannot
we're not
see
down
down into the chamber.
Oh,
It's too-
we didn't follow him.
No,
No.
I told you. I didn't want you to.
Okay.
You
I was gonna follow him anyway.
you notice that all of the rocks around you and all the different things that were floating are now settling back into place.
Oh, good.
I did it.
But you not notice your boy Stone coming back. What do you do?
I will jump down.
Down into the chamber down there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't have to jump. You can walk, run.
But he's jumping.
He's jump.
You get places faster in games when you jump as you go.
Dodge roll. All right. So you, as you're running down in there.
I will go with. If he makes move, I will follow.
Okay.
Wait, do we need a lookout? Are we just both going?
I'm jumping.
There's no one here.
I mean, Mara was here, guys.
Well, maybe
Yeah, she might have
is.
just murdered me down in that hole.
I'll be looking
All
for
right, I'm
Mara,
going.
like bringing Redican down with two hands, like aiming for any blonde hair that I see down there.
How about as you're running down in, Zarin, make a Constitution check for me. And Vanya, you're running down too?
Yeah.
Constitution check, please.
This is a saving throw, or just a check.
This will be a check.
All right, 14.
Nine.
Okay. So, Zarin, you run down into the chamber, and you can feel that the energy that's in this room, it feels like it is just tearing at you. And you see this giant blue orb that has filled the room, and you see Stone has slumped down on this chair.
It just would be funny because like Stone runs in there and then you run in and I'm passed out sitting on a seat that looks like I probably shouldn't have done that.
Slacker.
Good up.
Why?
Get up, Stone.
So, you're going to run over to him and try to get him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not me.
Yeah. I'll force my way through the tearing, grit my teeth as I push my way through it, and then grab him
Okay.
if I can get there.
Yeah. So, in a matter of moments, Zarin, you're. It's weird because you feel like you're back in that space where you were having your dream, and it's different now though, because you look around and you're in this white space, And as you twist and turn, you see Vanya's behind you. She's there too. And Vanya, as you come to, you realize that you're in this space that you've never been in before. And as you look, and you're getting your wits about you, you now see Stone. And Stone, you are in sort of a trance in this space. And you look ethereal and ghost-like. And Stone, as you kind of hover there in that midst, you start to come to. And you see your two friends are there. And they've come down to rescue you.
In real world or only in the ethereal?
In the real world, they both came running down. And
No,
in
but
this-
I mean, I'm coming to,
in the white space.
not in the physical chair, though.
And why don't you roll a intelligence check?
Oh, good. I'm good at that.
Yep.
Just intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Check. A saving
Check.
throw?
Check.
Check one. Save.
Is this a save?
No, it's a check.
All right.
It's a save.
So this is a
Check.
+4, so that's a 16.
So, in this space, you start to look around, and you can see Zarin and Vanya in this white space. And as you look, you're now looking almost in a ghostly sort of way. You're up in the center of this room. You look down, and you see Vanya has collapsed in the walkway coming down. And Zarin has come over to you, and he's trying to shake you to get you awake. And you realize that you seem to be one with the ether right now. And in a flash, you're back in your body, and Zarin is desperately trying to get you up, but you can see that the strength is leaving him. You have an opportunity to get up.
Yeah.
And as you do, you stand and you help lift Zarin up. And the two of
I want to
you
look over at Vanya.
stagger up towards that walkway. And you reach down and you both help pick up Vanya. And the three of you exit the chamber. And you've restored balance to the arcane balance.
Ooh.
I did it, guys. I sat
How
in the
cool.
chair.
The three of you collapse for a long rest at the bottom of
Yes.
the chamber
Yeah.
steps.
But at the bottom? Oh,
Yep.
okay. We didn't have to leave out of the chamber.
Safe.
I don't think any of you are getting up those steps right
Oh,
now.
okay. All right, we're good. All right.
So wait,
Sweet,
are
man.
you the new head of the?
I turned into a god just now.
So both of you.
I just replaced Halrag and Tyr.
Oh,
Best be nice to me.
During this,
Of course.
you
Of course.
you recover hit points and spell points and side points and all things as appropriate.
And level?
This is not the time to level.
it's
like,
not the
Today is
time.
not that day.
This is not the time for that. But the three of you awaken down in the bottom of the astral chamber here in this pit.
What
What do we sing around us?
Seems there's in the chamber, it used to have like this sort of artificial heavenly light shining down. You awaken to see that it is back. And it seems as though you hear a bit of nature around you, as though things are returning back to normal.
Is there a this glowing orb still? Is that gone?
So that would be down inside the chamber itself. You're
okay,
down in
that's-
sort of the preliminary chamber there,
Gotcha.
with the steps that lead up.
The waiting room?
The waiting room to the chamber, yes.
Are you all right?
I think so. I
Thought
feel
it.
all right. But
Good.
I felt as though I nearly died for a moment. Did we do it?
Restore balance.
Yes.
It seems as though all is right. Vanya, are you all right?
I think I will be fine.
You, too. You stood beside me at a time that I did not ever expect to face. You were truer friends to me in that moment than the god I once served. I thank you, and you have my eternal gratitude.
I want to hug him. Vanya approaches you to hug you.
He will stand there and just let her do it.
Okay, so kind of awkward. All right, that happened. Maybe like a buddy tap on the shoulder when you're done. Like, there you go.
That was all right.
Yes. Stone. Anything.
Stone stands up and says, "Ugh. Whatever. I've always got your back. Let's get out of here."
Wait a moment. Do you not have to stay to keep balance?
Crap, do I just live here now? Let's find out. Start walking away.
In that moment, with everything that transpired, it seems as though you were able to pull Strata from where he was to where you were.
Yeah, I wanted to get where there was good signal and call
Yeah.
out for Strata.
Yeah, you gotta, do the thing where you hold your mouth open and keep your. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so where do you want to head to?
I want to go up and out of here, and I'm kind of wondering what happened with Strata. If he
Yeah.
came through and he's in the physical realm now, so I'm kind of like,
Yes.
Yeah, where is he?
yeah.
On the stool.
So I'm gonna call
Keep it
his
balanced.
name
On the
as,
throne?
as we like
On the chair?
ascend.
Yeah. So
I don't know. He didn't say that.
So I guess Stone, before as your two friends start to head up, you take a quick moment to kind of look back down into the chamber again, and you see in that 12th seat, you see a bluish figure that's much less like an orb and much more like the form
Person.
of a person sitting there peacefully. I probably should have had that detail in, at a much more convenient time other than you just poking your head back in.
All right,
but
I'm not.
Like when-
I'm not going in there. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna look at him and give him a nod.
he winks at you.
Oh, yeah. Time to go.
And
Dude, it was gonna be cool, but now it's just weird. Why'd you do that?
what
And I'm gonna.
what do you do with Oker's body? Anything? It's kind of gross.
Yeah, we're probably gonna. I don't know.
Strata can deal with that.
Energy beam.
We're not gonna bury him. I don't. There's not
Bury.
like.
So as you get to the top of the steps, you see Bren there. He's trying to clean up all the bodies. And there's just so many of them. He just looks like overwhelmed. He's just, what do you do with all these bodies?
Bren,
Oh, yes, there.
it will take some time, but it is your duty.
I'm gonna give him one death balloon. This may help.
That will
Tie it to
definitely
Oker.
floats up out of there. That was very kind of you.
That's a nice send off.
That one's on us.
Now,
All right.
Mara, where did she go?
Who are you asking?
Bren.
Bren.
Okay, he says,
No, Vanya? What? I'm kidding.
yeah. He says, she came through so quick. I'm not sure which way she went off to, but I'm fortunate she did not see me. She went straight down into that pit. She killed Oker and left. Sorry, I'm not very useful. I've been trying to clean up all these bodies.
Is there any tracks?
You would need to roll.
Perception.
I can do that.
Survival.
I feel like it would need to
Nature.
be a survival check to see if you could pick up
Survival?
on. Like you're looking for like footprints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it?
6.
Am I doing this?
I
You're
don't
doing
know.
this.
You're the one.
We're all doing this.
Okay.
Wasn't there a way Ochre could track people? Is there no
I'm a
scrying
10.
something here?
Nah, he's really dead though.
I know, but
Really, he's dead.
He's really dead.
I know.
Yeah.
For
But
real.
all of the tools he used are here.
Yeah.
Except for his magic.
And his liveliness.
Yeah, but
we all were
Stone
so
has
fond
some
of.
of it. Or we could go back and ask that blue dude.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you. Strata. Yeah, we didn't see him. Only Stone saw him.
Yeah. And I'm leaving him there.
What's his
He is
Mara's?
now.
He just like gave him a thumbs up. Good. You good? Good.
I'm
out.
assuming, A, if I go in there, it's not good news for my body.
Oh, yeah.
B, it's kind of just the implied, like, he's seated there, he's holding this, and he's going to remain there.
Do we need
It's
to
his
do...
lot now.
It seems as though it would be prudent to set up some sort of better guard for this astral chamber. Bryn,
Oh yeah.
you have a sacred duty.
I do.
After you finish with these bodies,
Yes.
quickly,
Yes, sir.
you must procure better security for this chamber.
We've considered some options. We will invest in only the finest.
You let us know if you need something.
I-
Other than us standing here the
well,
whole
I was
time.
gonna say, like, could you help me bury some bodies?
I think you've got this.
That's what the last guy said. Okay. Well, be safe out there.
I will help him bury bodies.
All right.
In a
So,
montage format.
so you do have a montage, and I think at this point there's no sign of Mara. I think you would all probably make your way either to Orn or the hub. Take your pick.
The hub. I mean, can't we go home for a minute and just? I mean, I think we should discuss what are Mara's motives now. What is it that she's after? Like what she tried to do didn't work. What is? To find her, we have to think of those kinds of things.
The hub is more. It's been better centrally for collecting information. So, let's see what they know.
Okay, that too.
Okay. So the
But I do want to he said he helped bury bodies, but I don't think we should just leave. I mean, we're supposed to be heroes. Can't we help them get together for a minute?
That's what I said. Yeah.
they don't do that in Avengers.
Mon-
They just wreck everything and leave.
Montage format.
Yeah, montage.
Okay.
So yeah, there you help restore things, and Bren finds some magical friends to help him guard the place.
Cool.
There you go.
Boom.
I'll meet you in the middle.
Magical friends.
So
Little
the-
ponies.
The three of you roll up on the hub, and it is still a bit. I won't say in shambles. They're still in repair mode.
Under
From
construction.
Right.
so they patched up. It looks like they've got some areas around like a fence around the giant hole in the ground, and there's some actual real repairs being done, not just things covering like drapes covering the gaping hole in the front of the hub. And you see Cujo out front. He says, "Holy shit! I never thought I'd see the three of you again. Where have you been? Are you all right? What happened? What? Have a drink." And he holds up his drink. He's like, "Oh,
We faced Halarak,
We'll need more
the
than
deceiver,
that.
the destroyer.
holy
and-
hell!
We destroyed him.
That's pretty impressive. I would give you some King's notes for that, but they're all kind of in safekeeping right now as we're rebuilding. Maybe next episode."
You son of
will-
a bitch.
We will take you to them.
I'm just glad y'all are back. We heard some of the destruction that's gone on in Orn. We sent some folks up there that we've dispatched to help out and do what we can. But just glad to see the three of you back in one piece. That's some scary shit.
Speaking of pieces, do you know who can reforge this armor? Like, hold out the pieces of Tyr's armor that I picked up.
Says, well, I did have original intentions to have a blacksmith available since like episode 1, season 1, where you guys could buy different things from a blacksmith that we
But-
never addressed ever.
Sounds very convenient that you would have done that by now.
Yeah, he's out back. We can talk to
Excellent.
him at some point. So yeah, we'll get to work on that.
Stone during this conversation just peeks into Olmsted area.
And he looks down. He said, "You, my friend, You're the crazy bitch I've been looking for.
And then I unpeak and go back to the conversation.
Says, wait, no!
Just
I didn't know you could unpeak.
yeah.
no, I peeked a corner.
I know. It's funny.
As you're standing there catching up with Cujo and filling him in on things, and your buddy Varric, the little gnomish dude,
Brings
your
us
brewmaster,
drinks?
he brings you all kinds of beer and
Good.
hooch.
Good.
So you're all out there, you're having a conversation as you're catching up. You see Patroclus come briskly walking up, and he says, I've heard of all the adventures up in Orin, and friends, I can't thank you enough for dispatching the horrors that have happened here recently. Horrors.
They're only doing their job. Oh, yes. Then.
Now, I do have a hot lead on what might take us to our next step in closing this thing out for good. We have found the source of Baron Liam's, we'll call it his stronghold, where they were forming all of the Goliaths. The source of the slavers, all that sort of thing. But more importantly, we've got it on good authority that whoever he was working with has gone off to find more of these demon lords, if you will.
Demon lords.
Yes. So we caught up with someone who was down at the Drunken Wyvern, who was quite wasted, and getting some information out of them. It seems as though Liam had employed a number of different sailors and whatnot to cart him back and forth from a stronghold that we've determined is about an hour west off the coast. And in the conversation, he had mentioned that there was some crazy woman there that was slated to be married to his son, that she apparently has left somewhere out west, even further west, across the Great Sea, in pursuit of a demon lord of some sort. Now,
A woman that was to be married to Baron Liam's son?
correct. Olin. Yeah.
Different woman.
Different
Right?
woman.
Okay.
Yeah. He says, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm sure it's a different woman than whatever you were talking about. And he says, but
What did this woman look like?
I have no idea, but sounds as though she is on her way to find whatever this thing is that she's going after. Now, if you'd asked me a few months ago what I thought of demon lords, I would have laughed, thought it was a thing of the past or a myth of some sort. At this point, having seen what happened in Orin, having heard of the news, if they were able to get this one summoned and risen, who knows what else is out there. I suggest our first place that we need to go look is this stronghold. And he hands over a map with some coordinates and asks, is this something you all can tackle right away?
I'm going to look at Zarin and say, is it her?
No. No, it is not Mara. It is someone else. Someone I believe we've seen before. And I'm going to scroll Vengeance 2 on this map.
All right. I'm going to do another quick montage here.
All right.
So the three of you make your way down the Werwall, and you catch up with Harvey the Birdman and your boat, the Clarifanta. And you follow the coordinates on the map of Vengeance 2 to a... as you approach, it is an island that is in the middle of nowhere. It is a large, lush green island with a large rock tower formation at its far center point. And it has these huge white accents, these marble white accents of this ancient mansion that was built here from ages and ages ago. It does not look familiar at all to any of the architecture that you've seen in Enervis so far. And the Clarifanta gracefully presses up against the wooden dock that's jutting out from the front, and 3 sets of boots drop down onto the deck. And our heroes, Zarin, Vanya, and Stone, you walk up the path, weapons drawn, ready as always. As you work your way upwards following the dirt path, you find yourselves overcome with the stench of death. The dirt road that you travel up has several different ruts that have been caved in there from cart traffic back and forth. But as you crest the hill, approaching this large rock tower formation, you see these tall stone walls guarding the courtyards to the tower. And at the very front, where these carts would roll through, there's a heavy iron gate. And on the other side of the gate, that's been chained up, you see a pile of dead, monstrous bodies decaying heavily under the hot sun. And as you get closer, they resemble the Quogoths, the werewolf-looking beasts. And piles upon piles of the large bug monsters you were so fond of. And some of these bodies far worse than those.
We're surprisingly good with all of this.
Yeah. So,
Wait, they're all dead, right?
all dead.
But they're
Piles of-
monster bodies. Piles of monster bodies.
Yeah.
So as you approach, Stone focuses on a coin, his signature move, puts it in his mystic hand, and he sends it forward to survey the area. And as you look around, you see that this, what used to be a sprawling garden courtyard, is full of these cages like you saw on the beaches but previous season ago. You like how I tied that all together?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was doing so good. And you see that these cages, all the doors have been opened, and it looks as though all these beasts that were kept inside have killed each other trying to get out. And Stone, as you move that coin around, you see an area that looks like several large humanoid figures resembling the Goliaths. An area where it was almost like they set up a training area to just put these beasts through as much exercise as they can to just make them as hulking and large as they can. And all of them have been chained. None of them have been able to get out. Looks as though they've been emaciated and died of lack of food. As you find a way in, you find a double set of stairs that spiral up towards the mouth of a giant cavern. And it too, this cavern that's underneath these stairs, I should say, is guarded by a heavy iron gate with more bodies that are piled up as though they're trying to push through this gate. And this cavern looks as though it probably leads down into the Underdark. And as you push your way up, the three of you make your way in, and of course, weapons ready and all that good stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. You find your way up into the mansion. And it seems as though everything has been vacated. There's no one around. And you find a note that's been left sitting on an end table next to a window with some sort of fancy paperweight placed on top of it. Someone want to read that?
Go ahead. You want me to read it?
You haven't read it yet.
All right. My sweet Olin, I'm sorry, this is not the way. The beasts, the titans, the beasts from the Underdark. This is not how we cleanse the plague, nor the hub. I have let the beasts go. I'm sure they will find their way. We cannot play gods when the gods watch from afar. I wish you and your father the best. I will truly miss you. I am off to summon the Chimera to give cause for the gods to come again. I will always love you, your bride.
And at that, friends, we end Season 3 of Myths and Mystics. Thank you for tuning in and downloading. We'll catch you next time. Somewhere far out west, far beyond the common realm, a lone boat sails across the dark ocean waves. Standing at foremost point of the bow is none other than Sasha, the bride. She stands, arms crossed against her stomach, bracing against the salty wind that rushes past her. The captain walks across the deck, weary, beaten from weeks of travel. Ma'am, we're We're out of options. We've got maybe 2 days worth of split rations. We lost too much in the storm. This map you have, we're sailing to nowhere. We need to turn back. We need to go. Her eyes are full of tears. We must try. It's our only hope now. Ma'am, our only hope is to turn back. There is nothing out here. We're easily 3 weeks from home. Maybe we turn back. Maybe a fishing vessel might find us if I can get us close to a route, but if we continue, there is no hope. We must race Tentir, the Chimera. It's the only hope we have. The captain looks at a disheveled, frail, once beautiful, now slightly emaciated woman who is falling apart in front of him, a sober expression coming across his face. Ma'am, I don't know what this is that you speak of, but suddenly a tentacle smacks down on the deck of the ship, cleaving into the hull. 3 green, horrible eyes raise out of the water. A pale body with a toothy maw raises up, and in one quick swipe, it wipes the deck of all of its crew into the ocean. Then, slowly, it lowers its gaze down to the woman. Its expression shifts from its intent to destroy. And for moments that define eternity, the aboleth sees into the soul of the bride, with the sun hanging low on the horizon, the golden hue capturing every horrible detail in a beautiful, monochromatic frame. In her mind, she hears, "You and I have much in common."